Hi guys, what's up? It's Ashton. Today I wanted to talk to you about how I stay organized as a creative person. I wanted to show you some of the planners that I've used throughout the last few years to show you what has and hasn't worked for me. I've also been using a couple apps that help me with some of the projects and daily tasks that I have to attend to, so I wanted to share those with you as well. Alright guys, so here are the last few planners ranging about the last 2 years or so. And I wanted to kind of take you through them from the oldest to the newest, starting with the bullet journal. Bullet journaling was wildly popular for a while. Actually, I think it still is. So I bought these dotted notebooks because I wanted to try it myself, and I did it for about 6 months or so. I really like the setup. I love getting to choose what is important enough to make it into your planner and all the different pages and trackers you can do. I find it super pleasing aesthetically, and I just love the customization and the coding. I also really liked getting to try a bunch of different layouts. So for the first several, I tried kind of a different layout every single week just to try to see what really worked. And as much as I did love it and still do, I find that it takes way too much time. And mine aren't even as elaborately decorated as a lot of the ones that I see on the internet. There are such beautiful ones that people do, and I just don't have time that I want to dedicate to that. So after a few months of that, I went back to a classic planner. I found this big planner I think it was at Marshall's. So you can see it's a huge size difference, and the spiral bound can be both a blessing and a curse. And I started it obviously pretty late because I was in the bullet journal for a while. I do like the setup where you have the monthly spreads and the weekly. I find the size to be very convenient if you are leaving it at your desk, but that is just not how I operate. So I could only do that one for a few months before I decided to move on to this Moleskine. The Moleskine I really like a lot because of its tiny size. This is the Pocket, and it was from 2017 to 2018. But again, I started it late since I was trying out those other planners. I didn't start it until like January 1st. So there's a lot of pages up in the front here that I just didn't use everything before January 1st, and that's quite a bit of pages. But fortunately, the Moleskine, the ink on them's not terribly dark, and the way they have it laid out isn't too intrusive, so I used that as notebook paper. So all the pages that I wanted to have in like the bullet journal or just lists and things that I generally carry a notebook for anyways, I went ahead and put in the beginning of this planner. Now this planner is the weekly setup, so the week on the left and on the right, just kind of notebook pages, where I like to put weekly tasks and notes for that are pertinent to the time. So I did that one for the rest of the year, and then in 2019 I went to this Blue Sky, which I had one like this, just like it, a few years ago. And it has some of the things that I like, and it has tabs, which I especially love. But the biggest points that I like to have is the full month spread and then the weekly setup. So I need those two things in my planners. And I had a few months before the actual year started, so I got it right in, I think in December, and started setting it up for January, and found right away that I didn't want to commit to it after all. I didn't like a few things about it. I found the paper to be kind of cheap, and I just wasn't feeling it. So then I went shopping again and found this pretty little planner, and this one started 2018 to 2019. So again, I'm starting late, and there's a bunch of pages, a couple months that I couldn't use, but again, I used them as random note paper. I considered cutting them out, but because I carry a notebook anyways, I thought I would try it. But this is what I like about it. It has beautiful illustrations every now and then, the monthly spread, and then the weekly spread with plenty of room for writing, but mostly it's these gorgeous illustrations. It's just very appealing to me. I need my eye candy, and this definitely was providing it. I added these little tabs to find my places a lot quicker, because for me that's kind of important. And I used this planner for about 6 months. Really liked it. The problem again was size and weight. So even if I cut those pages out, this is still fairly chunky and kind of heavy. I already stuff a lot of things into my bag, so I really need something smaller. So after about 6 months, I went ahead and went shopping again, and I went back to the good old Moleskine. And this is just the red one that goes from 2019 through 2020, and I decorated it with a couple of my own stickers on the outside, just like last time. And I really like the color. The black is always a nice classic, but the red is really cute too. So a couple stickers on the inside to jazz it up. And it has the monthly spread, which I wish actually these monthly spreads were across 2 pages, not just one, because I would like the extra space for writing. But it's okay. And then it doesn't have a lot of extra pages like I would like, but I inserted this piece to keep track of bills and when payments generally go through. And since I started this one on time, I can just use it as normal with the weekly spread and the blank page on the right. You can see I really use the blank page on the right for various tasks. And how much I write on my weekly spread kind of varies. It's not the only thing I use. I like to also incorporate digital into my workflow, but the size is very convenient. I love that I can just throw this in my bag. It's super handy. I really want to try the Hobonichi at some point, but for now, this is what I'm going to stick with, especially since I just bought it. So this little case here is one that I sometimes carry with me. To be honest, it's not usually in my bag, but I keep some of the tools that I like to use for planning in here. So I just wanted to walk through those real quick. We have the double-sided sticky tape in a convenient little roller, whiteout, a couple mild liners in just 2 colors. I didn't want to overdo it. Mechanical pencil, eraser. This mechanical pencil has red lead in it. And some washi tape. I have a lot more, but this is what I just like to keep together in case I do take this pouch with me when I need my planner and some extra attention in it. Now, the pens that I usually keep on me are one of these 3. And this one is a little Pentel Sharp pencil that I picked up in Japan. It is super tiny. I think it's a 0.3, and the eraser I don't really use too much because I don't want to wear it down. And it has this cute little cap, which I didn't realize was to cover the tip. It came with it on the eraser end, and for a long time I didn't realize it was to protect that sharp point. Kind of felt dumb, but what are you going to do? I don't always carry this one lately because there's nowhere to put it. I wish this planner had like a little pen strap or something. So I usually just carry one of these pens, mostly because you get a lot of mileage out of one because they are multicolored pens. And this big one is really easy to find in the States, but I like the Japanese ones because they come in much finer tips. I'm a big dork and I love Sanrio still, even at this age. So anytime I can, stateside or in Japan, I look for a good Sanrio pen. This one has 3 colors, and it's a pretty fine tip, which makes it really convenient for the small size of the Moleskine. I like it a lot. I usually have it on me. I don't know what I'm going to do when this one gets lost or worn out because we don't have a Sanrio store nearby, and I look online sometimes and they're just not that easy to find a good one. It's not as easy to find them in person as it is. It's not as easy to find them online as it is in person. So one of the downsides about this planner is that the paper is really thin and it's not very bleed proof. That's why I like this ballpoint pen in particular. I don't use the highlighter too much in it because it will bleed right through. I also like to use a dry erase board at my desk, and I'll just throw on a bunch of tasks I need to do that don't have a hard deadline. Sometimes I'll put these in my planner as well, but in the planner it's more to specify the time frame I want it done. So I'll be focusing on that for the week, whereas on the board here it's just kind of write it up as I think of it, and I might give it a time frame later. I also have been trying to incorporate the use of this app called Trello. Trello is a project management type tool. It's free to use. You can use a paid account as well, or you can invite people to use it, and if they use it you get like power-ups and stuff to make your account a little nicer. Simple to use. You can put a big project that you want, break it down into little steps, and put a lot of details on each of these cards and then move them over as you finish things. What I learned when it was introduced to me is to have a to-do list, an in progress, and a done, so you can move them over and really narrow in your focus as you're using it and getting things accomplished. So like I said, it's a free app. You should definitely check it out or at least watch a video on it. I think it is really handy, especially if you are working on some larger projects. So the last thing I use is the Google Calendar, and I like it for a few things specifically. It has a lot of features that are very useful, such as reoccurring events, which I use for my social media editorial calendar so that I can keep a regular schedule on social media posts. Appointments and meetings are really handy to put in here as well, and set alarms and reminders for things that are needed. It might be a little bit redundant to have them in both places, but I'm a little bit particular as to what makes it into the Google Calendar anyways, so I don't mind the overlap. It really does help keep me on track. And that's it, guys. That's how I keep my stuff organized. If you are interested in any of the products, if there are available affiliate links, they are listed down below as usual. Thanks, guys, and happy painting.